Your most vivid memories are from things that suck. Pain, trauma. And mine, a lot of them are, my best ones are from Arctic warfare training at Team 2, because that shit was a cut above for SEALs, being able to handle those extreme colds. And one of those extreme cold suckness things was diving. And we would go every year to Resurrection Bay, Alaska, and we would conduct our dive training up there. And oh, buddy, what a can of whoop ass that was. Everything in SEAL team starts during the day. Your first parachute drop is a day drop before you do a night drop. Your first submarine lockout, hopefully, is a day before it's night. And certainly your dive training with this bulky dry suit that's just so difficult to dive and get your buoyancy right is done during the daytime before you do it at night. And so me and my buddy, we're down there. Everybody's geared up. We're putting the platoon in the water to shake it out, just a shakeout dive. We'd never done this before. And we turtle back out. We're on our draggers. We turtle back out and we release the buoyancy compensators and we sink down to the bottom, getting that out. And we're down about 15 feet, me and him side by side. We're kneeling on the bottom. And it is this beautiful volcanic ash. It's a black volcanic ash. There's not a seashell, there's not a starfish, there's not nothing. And the water is absolutely crystal clear. It was undescribably beautiful down there. And all of a sudden, we're sitting there unscrewing ourselves, and here comes this little beautiful female SEAL. She was small, she was cute, she was adorable is what she was. And she is flirting with us. She is turning upside down and just batting her eyes. She had just beautiful eyes with these long eyelashes. And she is just, we're right there, we're mesmerized by her, how cute and beautiful she is. We're like, this is great. And all of a sudden that little thing went, she was gone. And it got this noticeable shadow. And we look up, and here he comes. I guess apparently it was breeding season up there for these SEALs. And here comes this monstrous bull SEAL. And he is gliding right for me and my dive buddy like a torpedo. He is moving so slow, and you can't see his fins moving. He's just somehow propelling himself closer and closer to us. And this thing had a head on it. He was flipping huge. And we're like, oh my God, what we do? We just could sit there and, oh my God. And he gets closer and he gets closer, and we're just really getting nervous at this point. He gets a few feet away from both our faces, builds the suspense up, and like the best comedian you ever saw deliver a punchline, right when you couldn't take it anymore with his face right in yours, he went, "Bleh!" We went, oh my God, we blew bubbles out. He shot that shit. It was so loud. He just roared underneath there. And we shot to the surface and got out of the water. We had to get our shit together after that one. That one freaked us out. But nothing was worse than doing the actual ship attacks in Resurrection Bay during SEAL breeding season, because it's dark. You're diving with a buddy. You can't see shit. You're looking at a glowing attack board, a compass, and you're simulating attacking Russian ships in the Arctic and waving the Cold War stuff. And the SEALs would swim down. They just hated us being in there, anywhere in the water. And they could sense you were in there for miles. They would grab your fin right in total darkness in there while you're totally concentrating. One of those SEALs would swim down and bite your fin and pull you, and that would freak you out. And they would bite up the back of our head. They would come down and just bite. They weren't hurting, but it would unravel you. That thing just put his mouth around the whole top of your head. Too cool for school. So the other thing we had diving in Seward, Alaska, were Zodiac boats. And we would use them to pick up jumpers from parachute jumps, get the parachutes in the boat, get the jumpers in the boat. We would use them to monitor the dives that were going on day and night for safety. And I can't help but notice when I'm out there, there's all these ducks. And I'm an avid duck hunter. I believe the statute of limitations is over on this thing, because I'm planning a duck hunt in a government-issued boat, and I don't have a license or anything. And I drag a buddy of mine with me. He's the same way. And it is a beautiful, beautiful day on Resurrection Bay in Seward, Alaska. There's not a wisp of wind. There's no wave. There's no anything. It's not too cold. But we don't tell anybody where we're going. And they don't really remember why we didn't do that. We're just being kind of stupid, I guess. We don't take a radio. We don't have any survival gear. We don't have a spare engine. We don't have extra fuel. We have nothing. We're just going out on this beautiful day, cruise down Resurrection Bay and shoot a couple of ducks. The bad thing about Resurrection Bay is it is sheer cliffs on both sides. It's this big bay with sheer cliffs. So if you had a problem and you had to beach that Zodiac and like start a fire or something, you couldn't do it. There was nothing to do. And we get down 10 miles, I think is where we measured it off at. And my buddy looks back at me. We're shooting ducks. We're having a good time. He goes, how much fuel we got left? And I reach down there and I shake that can and I go, it's time to turn around. As soon as I turned that Zodiac around and started heading back for Seward, Alaska, we realized why they called this place Resurrection Bay. Because right over the mountains, here it come. Boom! It just hit. There was no warning. It just turned into a nightmarish ass storm. Just brutal waves and just an insane beating we were getting out there. And it was terrifying. And if the engine would have died, I wouldn't be here right now. Everything had to work out. And we are hours away. This is going to take us hours. Best case, if we ever make it back. What took an hour to get down is going to take many hours to get back. And we are ill prepared. We are getting soaked from the wave action crushing the Zodiac boat, and it is up and over. My buddy, all he could do was curl up in the bow of that Zodiac and try to stay warm while I was on the engine. It was my fault. So I'm taking the brunt of it, the punishment, and I am frozen solid. So is he. And the terrifying part of knowing you're going to die is how you know you're going to die. If you are going to die in a parachute jump, it happens really quickly. You have just a few seconds to go, oh shit, I killed myself. When you do that, a prolonged death, and that's what this was. It was hours of knowing there was no way we were going to make it out of this thing. There's no way. I killed us both. And you're thinking your wife, your kids, him, his family, everything. I've killed us both. We're dead. We're never going to make it out of this thing. Hours go by and it's just mind-numbing. We're just frozen, solid, hypothermic, man. And we start getting closer to Seward. There's hope. There's hope. And somehow we make it to the breakwater in Seward, Alaska. And I just, for the first, I was babying that engine so much. And when soon as we got in that breakwater, I floored that engine over with my frozen hand and wrist and plowed that Zodiac boat up on these rocks. Engine cutting the propeller, chewing up the rocks and everything. And I get out of the boat and I get him out and take him up on the main road. And this is how I am. I'm just, your mind numbing. I went back and got the guy's shotgun because I borrowed it. And here we go through town, gimping around, me with his shotgun. We're both insanely hypothermic. I mean, we'd fall over and our hearts stop anytime. And we pour ourselves through the front door of the Yukon bar while everybody is in there on a Sunday having some beer. We fell in the door and everybody flocked to us. They're like, my God, look at these guys, man. It was bad. They're stripping us down, getting us warm, providing they took absolute great care of us when we were there. And this is a picture of us after the fact. We're all happy now with our ducks. And we're like, how stupid is that? How stupid. We'll never do that again. There's so many lessons learned. 3 days later, we went back out again. We did it again. Only this time it was only half the time that you thought, well, I'm never going to make it home to see my family. And you just cannot see them coming over. I did it again with him again. The same situation. No radio, no spare motor, no nothing. Did it again. Damn. Arctic warfare was a total kick in the nuts.